There's a strange kind of freedom that comes the moment you stop trying to control everything, when you stop clinging to the what-ifs, the maybes, the what could go wrongs. Suddenly, life begins to breathe again. Worry, for all its noise, is a cage made of shadows. It traps you in a future that doesn't even exist, stealing the calm and strength you already carry within. You only lose what you cling to. The Buddha. But how do you let go in a world that teaches you to hold on tighter? Why does trying to fix everything only leave you more broken? This isn't just a video, this is your mirror. Together, we'll uncover the hidden patterns that keep your soul tired and your spirit tense, and how Buddhist wisdom can set you free. Stay until the end, because Lesson 9 holds a truth that might just shift your emotional world forever. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I release what drains me." Before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. 1. The stillness beyond control. There is a quiet kind of suffering that comes not from the world, but from within. The kind that grows when you try too hard to make everything go your way. You think, if I could just control this person, if I could just make life bend to my will, then I'd finally be at peace. But peace doesn't arrive through control, it arrives the moment you let go. Freedom begins where attachment ends. Have you ever pulled a rope so tightly that your hands burned, only to realize you didn't need to pull at all? The more we grasp, the more life slips through our fingers. In Buddhist teachings, the root of suffering is tanha, craving, the desperate desire to control, to cling, to resist the natural flow of impermanence. Imagine a river trying to push against its current. Would it not exhaust itself? And yet, you do this every day. You try to force clarity from confusion, affection from indifference, certainty from the unknown. But the river never resists. It surrenders, and it still reaches the ocean. This is the wisdom of letting go. This is the stillness beyond control. There is a story the monks tell of the wind and the leaves. The wind does not ask the leaves where they wish to go. It simply moves, not with force, but with presence. And in that presence, the leaves follow. You are the wind. Life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be moved through consciously, gently, fully awake. In today's world, we're taught that caring means controlling, that to love is to worry, that to succeed is to obsess. But the Buddha's way is different. Letting go is not abandoning life, it is trusting it. There's a difference between giving up and giving in. The first is despair, the second is wisdom. Try this. Close your eyes. Imagine a rope you've been pulling for too long. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your idea of who you're supposed to be. Now, loosen your grip, feel your shoulders drop. That is the beginning of peace. Ask yourself gently, what have I been trying too hard to control? And what might happen if I simply stopped? At first, the silence that follows may scare you, but stay with it, because hidden in that silence is something deeper than control. It's clarity. You'll start noticing that when you stop interfering, life has a rhythm, a way of working itself out without your panic, without your pushing. The day you stop caring about controlling everything is the day everything begins to align with your soul instead of your fear. The mind that no longer clings finally sees clearly. And from that stillness, true peace flows. Let go, not as escape, but as elevation. Let go and come home to the calm that was always waiting underneath. 2. Care is not clinging. There's a fine thread between love and attachment. A line so thin that many never see when they've crossed it. At first, you care because your heart is open. But slowly, silently, your care begins to demand something in return: validation, security, control. And when it doesn't receive it, you suffer. You wonder, why does love hurt so much? But the truth is, it's not love that hurts. It's the clinging. Detachment is not a lack of love, but clarity of it. In its purest form, care does not collapse into need. It expands into presence. It becomes a quiet offering instead of a desperate transaction. In Buddhist teachings, this clarity is known as wise compassion, the ability to be fully present with another without losing yourself in their story. Like a candle lighting another, it gives light but remains whole. It doesn't burn itself out just to prove it's real. And yet, so often, we believe that burning is the cost of loving, that if we don't worry endlessly or sacrifice completely, we're not truly devoted. But that belief is not love. It is fear disguised in devotion's clothing. When your care becomes a cage, when your thoughts revolve around their approval, their attention, their response, you've left love behind and stepped into attachment. Think of the sky. It holds the clouds. It embraces the rain, the sun, the storm. But it never tries to possess them. It lets them pass. This is the essence of pure care. Open, allowing, unattached. When you stop needing your care to be returned, you'll discover that the peace you were chasing through others was always waiting in your own stillness. The Buddha taught that we suffer not because we care, but because we care with grasping. Real love does not bind, it liberates. Today, observe your own care. Sit quietly and ask yourself, where does my care feel like a gentle gift, and where does it feel like a heavy weight? Notice the difference. One opens your heart, the other closes your spirit. True care allows space for others to be as they are and for you to remain at peace regardless. It does not mean you become cold, indifferent, or detached from life. It means your care becomes wise, rooted, and free. What would true, gentle care look like without needing anything back? The answer may feel like surrender, but it's actually power, the quiet power of a peaceful heart. Love can remain deep even as your hands let go. Compassion can stay whole even as your mind no longer grasps. When you stop clinging to care, life flows naturally back into alignment, and what remains is love in its highest form. 3. The invisible power of not reacting. There's a sacred space between what happens to you and how you respond. It is quiet, invisible, and easily missed. But within that space lives your freedom. Most people rush to react, to prove a point, to defend a wound, to control an outcome. But the more you react, the more power you give away. You become like a leaf tossed by every breeze, unsettled, unsure. Yet the Buddha taught, the calm mind holds the storms without becoming one. Imagine that. The storms still come, but you do not become them. You remain still, present, awake. There is a strength in silence that no volume can match. In our culture, silence is often mistaken for weakness. But in spiritual truth, silence is the highest discipline. A mountain does not shout at the wind. It endures it without moving. It does not bend to every gust, nor collapse to prove its presence. It simply is. In this way, non-reaction is not suppression. It's transcendence. When you stop caring about reacting to every slight, every opinion, every insult, you rise. You stop playing small games. You choose peace over pride. Think of the last time you reacted harshly. Maybe your voice rose, your chest tightened, your thoughts spiraled. After the moment passed, how did you feel? Empowered or emptied? We often believe that reacting fast shows strength, but it's the opposite. True power lies in the pause, in the breath you take before the emotion takes you. Try it. The next time someone triggers you, pause. Don't rush. Feel the breath in your belly. Watch the storm rise and pass. In that moment, you reclaim your power, not by controlling others, but by not being controlled by them. In Buddhism, this practice is known as equanimity, the deep inner balance that holds all things without falling into them. It is not indifference, it is wisdom. When you stop caring about proving yourself, you allow yourself to return to your true center. You no longer pour your energy into temporary battles. You conserve it for deeper growth. Ask yourself with honesty, how much energy have I lost by overreacting? And what would happen if I chose stillness instead? When you stop needing to respond to everything, you become deeply rooted, unshaken, grounded like the earth beneath your feet. And slowly, life begins to align. Not because the world changes, but because you have. The outside may still tremble, but inside, you remain the mountain. The day you stop reacting to everything is the day you start hearing everything more clearly. Stillness reveals truth. Silence reveals strength. Let the wind blow. Let the world spin. You are not here to chase every noise. You are here to become the calm in the middle of it all. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My stillness is my strength." Fourth, letting go is a form of trust. We spend so much of life holding on, not because we must, but because we're afraid of what will happen if we don't. We grip tightly to people, plans, expectations, even pain. Somewhere deep within, we believe that to release is to lose, that letting go means giving up. But in truth, letting go is a sacred act of trust. Clinging creates weight. Release creates wings. Have you ever noticed how trees surrender their leaves in autumn? Not in fear, but in rhythm. They do not mourn the falling. They prepare for renewal. They trust the cycle. Buddhism teaches that everything in life is impermanent, rising and falling like the breath. When we resist this truth, we suffer. When we embrace it, we grow. Holding on may feel safe, but it also holds you back. It freezes you in an old story that no longer fits the soul you've become. You are not meant to carry everything forever. Some things were only meant to pass through you, not stay within you. Imagine this. You're standing still in the heart of a quiet forest. The wind moves gently around you. One by one, the leaves begin to fall, not with struggle, but with grace. Now visualize the things in your life that you've outgrown. An old resentment, a toxic pattern, a version of you that feels heavy. See them drop around you like autumn leaves. No pain, just release. In that moment, you're not losing anything. You're making space. Letting go is an act of inner wisdom. It says, I trust that what is no longer mine is making way for what is. So often, we stay in relationships that have stopped growing, jobs that shrink our spirit, identities that no longer reflect our truth. And yet, the only reason we stay is fear. The fear that if we let go, we'll fall. But the opposite is true. You don't fall, you rise. You become lighter, clearer, freer. Ask yourself softly, what am I holding on to that already wants to leave me gently? The answer may come as a whisper. Trust it, because when you let go, you don't lose power. You return to it. You step back into flow. You stop swimming against the current of life and begin floating with it. The tree that lets go of its leaves does not become less of a tree. It becomes more in tune with nature. You too are part of this rhythm. Trust it. Let go. Not with bitterness, but with faith. Not with fear, but with quiet strength. Because when you stop clinging, peace doesn't just visit you, it stays. Letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of everything real. 5. The truth is, you were never lacking. You spend your life chasing after something. Praise, attention, status, love. Hoping that once you finally receive it, you'll feel whole. But the strange thing is, even when it comes, the emptiness remains. Why? Because what you're searching for was never out there. It was buried quietly beneath all your noise. The soul is not empty. It's just ignored. You've been looking everywhere but within, and in that search, you've forgotten something essential. You were never lacking. Not once. Not even on your worst day. Buddhist wisdom tells us that suffering arises from illusion, the illusion that something is missing, that you're somehow unfinished, that you must become more to be worthy. But this belief is not truth. It is conditioning. You were born whole. You do not need to be completed. You need to remember. Imagine a diamond buried beneath thick mud. The mud may cover it, conceal it, even make it seem worthless, but it never takes away the value. The diamond is still a diamond, and you are still you, radiant, complete, and enough. Yet we seek validation in noise, in other people's opinions, in the endless scroll of external approval. But truth does not shout. It whispers. In silence, in stillness, in breath. That quiet moment when your thoughts begin to slow and a soft voice within says, "You're already whole." But we don't hear it because we're too busy proving, pleasing, pretending. We ignore the parts of ourselves that just want to be seen, not by the world, but by us. Sit quietly, close your eyes, let your breath settle, and repeat gently to yourself, "I am whole. I do not need to be completed." Say it not as a mantra to believe someday, but as a truth that has always been yours. Feel how your body softens in its presence. There's a part of you that has been begging for your own approval, not the version of you who achieves or impresses, but the one who quietly endures, who carries your heart through all its seasons. That part deserves your love. Ask yourself, what part of me have I abandoned in the pursuit of being enough? Let your answer come slowly. It may arrive as a memory, a sensation, a tear. Welcome it, because every part of you is longing to be embraced, not fixed. When you stop caring about becoming someone else, life meets you exactly as you are, and peace follows. Not because you've finally changed, but because you've finally come home. The day you realize you were never lacking is the day you stop seeking and start being. And in that being, life aligns. Not with your fear, not with your image, but with your truth. You are already what you seek. You only have to remember. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My stillness is my strength." 6. Nothing changes until you stop resisting. There comes a point when your soul grows tired, not from life itself, but from the way you keep resisting it. You fight what is. You brace against the unfolding. You tell yourself this shouldn't be happening, or it wasn't supposed to turn out like this. And in that inner battle, peace becomes impossible. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance opens the gate. The more you struggle to change what already is, the more entangled you become in your own pain. But something changes when you stop pushing. You begin to feel life again, not as an enemy to conquer, but as a river to join. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering does not arise from events, but from the way we refuse to accept them. Pain is part of life, but resistance, that's optional. When you stop resisting reality, you don't become passive. You become powerful in a quieter, deeper way. You move with truth instead of against it. Just as ice does not melt through pressure, but through warmth. Transformation happens not through force, but through allowance. Imagine standing in a river. The current is strong. You try to hold your ground, plant your feet, push back, but the river keeps moving. And the more you resist it, the more it pulls on you. But now imagine letting go. You lift your feet, soften your body, and allow the current to carry you. You are no longer fighting. You are flowing. The river hasn't changed. You have. Try this practice now. With each exhale, whisper softly the word, allow. Let your shoulders fall. Let your breath guide you. One word, one breath, for a full minute. Allow the tension, allow the fear, allow what is already here. In that moment, you're not agreeing with everything, but you're creating the space for it to be. And that space is where peace enters. Ask yourself gently, where in my life am I still fighting the current? Where am I clinging to how things should be? Look there. That's where your suffering lives. And maybe that's where your surrender needs to begin, because when you stop caring about controlling every turn, you begin to experience life as it really is, unfolding, surprising, alive. The paradox is this: the moment you stop forcing change is when true change begins. Not from effort, but from alignment. Not from resistance, but from release. Peace is not found in fixing everything. It's found in allowing everything to be as it is, just for a breath, just for a moment. From that stillness, clarity arises, and from clarity, the path forward becomes simple and gentle and real. When you stop resisting, you begin returning to yourself, to peace, to the quiet rhythm of the present moment. 7. Peace is found in fewer opinions. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes not from what we carry, but from what we feel we must constantly explain. You try to be understood, to be seen in the right light, to justify your thoughts, your path, your feelings, and somewhere along the way, your peace begins to disappear. You say too much, think too hard, care too deeply about how you are perceived. But the truth is, peace is found in fewer opinions. The wisest among us do not speak more. They speak less and understand more. They do not explain their silence. They embody it. In Buddhist teaching, there is a sacred discipline in restraint. Restraint not as suppression, but as refinement. The ability to hold your truth quietly without forcing it into the world is a rare kind of freedom. It means you are no longer trying to win arguments with the world. You are simply being who you are, and in that being, there is stillness. Stillness thrives where explanation ends. Imagine a calm lake at dawn. It does not try to reflect the sky. It simply does, because it is still. You too reflect your deepest truth, not when you talk about it, but when you live it. So often, the urge to explain arises from fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear that if people don't understand you, you'll lose your place in their hearts. But the need to explain is a trap. The more you feed it, the more you drift from your center. You begin reacting instead of resting, defending instead of observing. But when you realize that your truth doesn't require approval, only presence, you begin to free yourself from the noise. Try this today. The next time you feel the impulse to explain yourself, pause. Don't speak. Don't justify. Just breathe. Let the moment pass. Feel the strength that comes from stillness. You'll find that you lose nothing and gain peace. Because true understanding doesn't need words. It can be felt in silence, in presence, in the way you hold yourself, even when no one claps. Ask yourself softly, where in my life am I explaining more than I am experiencing? Is it in your relationships, your work, your self-worth? What would happen if you stopped explaining and simply allowed yourself to be. The ones meant to understand will feel your silence more than your words. The ones not meant to never will, even with paragraphs of proof. The day you stop caring to explain yourself is the day you begin to embody your truth. And that is where peace lives. Not in proving, but in presence. Not in convincing, but in quiet knowing. Let your stillness speak. It will echo farther than your words ever could. The gift of becoming unavailable. There is a sacredness in knowing what to let in and what to keep out. But most of us live like open fields. No fences, no gates, no quiet. Every voice, every opinion, every distraction is allowed to enter. We scroll endlessly. We respond immediately. We absorb unconsciously. And slowly, without even noticing, our peace begins to disappear. Your peace is too sacred to be open to everything. Sometimes not caring isn't coldness. It's wisdom. It's the act of remembering that your mind is a temple, not a train station. And not everything deserves entry. In Buddhist thought, the mind must be guarded with the same care you would give a sacred space. A temple is peaceful, not because it is empty, but because it is protected. Only those with reverence may enter. Imagine if you lived like that, with reverence for your own attention, your own energy, your own spirit. Imagine if you became unavailable to drama, to gossip, to noise that doesn't grow you. What if you stopped apologizing for not caring about what doesn't nourish your soul? You do not have to be accessible to everything and everyone. In fact, constantly being available is what's draining you. You say yes when you mean maybe. You answer when your heart says rest. And the truth is, not caring about certain things is an act of sacred protection. You don't owe every situation your reaction. You don't owe every person your energy. Some things are better left outside your temple. Try this. Close your eyes and imagine a golden door surrounding your mind. With each thought, each message, each invitation, pause and ask, does this deserve to come in? Let that be your practice today. And notice how much more peaceful you feel when you guard your inner space with care. You are not shutting the world out. You are welcoming peace in. Ask yourself gently, what have I said yes to that has slowly taken my peace away? Maybe it was a role, a habit, a conversation you keep entertaining. The good news is, you can become unavailable to it now, with quiet strength, with no explanation. Just as the temple doesn't explain who may enter, you too can let your boundaries speak in silence. The day you become unavailable to what drains you is the day you become fully available to what heals you. When you stop caring about being everywhere for everyone, you start being present for yourself. Let the world spin. You don't have to spin with it. Be still, be selective, be sacred. Not everything is meant to enter the heart. Let your silence become the gate. Let your peace be the guardian. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My stillness is my strength." 9. The illusion of someday. There is a quiet trap the mind sets for itself, one that sounds reasonable, even wise. It whispers, not now, later, someday. After I achieve this, after they understand me, after I fix everything. And so we wait. We wait to feel joy until the workload lessens. We wait to feel worthy until we reach a certain goal. We wait to feel peaceful until life bends into shape. But here is the truth. If you cannot find peace now, you never will, because peace is not a reward. It's not something waiting at the end of a long path. Peace is not a destination. It is a decision. The Buddha reminded us that suffering begins the moment we leave the present. When we postpone stillness for an imaginary future, we create a gap that never closes, like chasing the horizon. It moves as you move. The bird does not wait to finish flying before it sings. It sings as it flies, and you too are allowed to feel calm in motion. You are allowed to feel whole before everything is figured out. You are allowed to exhale. Even when there are still things left unresolved, we have been taught to measure peace by circumstance. But real peace is not the absence of noise. It is the refusal to let the noise own you. It is something you claim, not when life is perfect, but when your breath returns to you in the middle of the chaos. Try it now. Breathe in gently and say to yourself, peace is here now. No more waiting, no more bargaining with the future. Ask yourself with tenderness, what am I postponing peace for? What story have I written that begins with, I'll feel better, when the truth is that story never ends? It just keeps moving the goalpost. So what if instead of waiting, you simply stopped? Not because everything is done, but because you are ready to be done with the delay, to stop holding your happiness hostage to something that hasn't arrived. Imagine if you gave yourself permission to live softly today. Not once the list is complete, not when the world praises you, but now, in this breath, in this moment, in this sacred, imperfect now. There is a power that rises when you stop running toward peace and start standing inside it. The day you stop caring about when peace will come is the day you realize it never left. It was here beneath your striving, beneath your fear, beneath your endless waiting. All you had to do was sit down, breathe in, and listen. Peace is not later. It's now, and now is always enough. 10. You are not obligated to suffer. There is a quiet illusion. Many carry the belief that suffering makes them worthy, that pain somehow proves depth, proves devotion, proves love. And so we wear our wounds like armor, like a badge of spiritual strength. We carry our past as if it defines us, as if letting it go would mean betraying who we are. But letting go of suffering is not weakness, it's wisdom. There is no spiritual prize for how much you've endured. The real awakening begins when you realize you are not obligated to suffer. In Buddhist teachings, suffering is not glorified. It is understood, witnessed, and then gently released. The Buddha did not teach us to cling to our pain, but to meet it fully and then let it go. He taught that liberation is not about denying suffering exists, but about refusing to let it become our identity. Too often we believe that holding on honors our story, but in truth, holding on only prolongs our disconnection from peace. You don't owe your past any more pain. You have already survived. You are allowed now to live. Picture a snake shedding its skin. It doesn't shed out of hatred for the old, it sheds because it's growing. It is no longer who it was. This is how healing works. You are not betraying your history by releasing your suffering. You are evolving beyond it, and yet so many remain stuck. Not because they cannot move on, but because they don't believe they're allowed to. But healing does not ask for permission from the past. It begins with a choice in the present. Try this simple practice now. Place your hand gently on your heart and say to yourself, I give myself permission to heal. Feel how strange it may sound, how bold, how freeing. Healing is not forgetting. It's remembering yourself without the pain. It is learning to meet your own eyes in the mirror without flinching, and slowly it's returning to the truth that you were never meant to carry everything forever. Ask yourself quietly, what pain am I still carrying as identity? Is it the heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss? Is it the belief that you must always suffer to be good, to be deep, to be real? Look gently at the places that still hurt, and ask if they are still helping you. If not, it's time to thank them and let them go. The day you stop caring about who hurt you or what you had to endure is the day you reclaim who you are beneath the wound. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because it no longer needs to define your reality. Like the snake, you can shed what no longer fits. You can walk forward not in denial, but in renewal. You are not here to be consumed by pain. You are here to be transformed by peace. Let it in, let it stay, let it become who you now are. 11th, less care, more consciousness. We often believe that peace comes from effort, from striving harder, fixing faster, endlessly reshaping who we are. But what if your deepest transformation came not from doing more, but from doing less? What if the path forward wasn't through effort, but through emptiness? So much of our suffering comes from a kind of caring that turns into control, a desperation to manage everything, understand everything, change everything. But the less you carry, the more you rise, let go. Not out of apathy, but out of wisdom, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand that care without consciousness becomes chaos, like a sky burdened with clouds. Your mind cannot reflect the truth when it's constantly filled with worry, noise, and endless fixing. But when the clouds drift, when striving dissolves, the sky doesn't disappear. It's revealed in the same way. Your clarity, your freedom, your true peace isn't missing. It's just hidden beneath the noise of trying too hard to make life different from what it is. And here lies a quiet invitation. Less care, more consciousness, less obsession, more awareness, less reaction, more presence. There is a sacred strength in surrendering the need to fix every detail. Let today be your practice for just 1 hour. Don't fix anything. Don't improve yourself. Don't plan the next step. Just observe. Let things be what they are. Let yourself be what you are. Watch your mind race, then watch it slow. Notice the tension in your chest, then let it soften in this stillness. Truth doesn't shout. It arises gently like light returning to a calm lake. This is not about becoming indifferent. It's about becoming available to the now, to the breath, to the vast space inside you that has never been broken. Ask yourself gently, what would happen if I stopped trying to fix my life and started living it? What if your life didn't need your interference, but your presence? What if healing wasn't an achievement, but an unfolding? The Buddha once sat beneath a tree in total silence, not because he didn't care about the world, but because he saw through it. He saw that liberation isn't about controlling life. It's about seeing life clearly and letting it move through you. In letting go of what he thought he needed to change, he found what was always already true. So can you. The more you let go, the clearer you become, and when your clarity deepens, your peace no longer depends on circumstances. It simply is, like the sky behind the clouds, like the soul behind the noise. This is the peace that begins to emerge when you stop caring in the ways that weigh you down and begin living in the way that sets you free. Let this be your path today, not to fix, not to chase, but to see, to feel, and to return to the quiet truth you never lost. Bonus lesson: the cosmic alignment of letting go. Sometimes the most powerful shift in life is not a dramatic action, but a quiet surrender. We spend so much time interfering, pushing, managing, overthinking, as if the universe cannot function without our worry. But the truth is this: when you let go, the universe begins to organize itself. There is a sacred rhythm beneath everything, and we often miss it, not because it's hidden, but because we're too busy trying to make things happen our way, in our own time. Yet look at the seed. It doesn't break open with force. It doesn't rush the soil. It simply rests and surrenders. And in that surrender, growth begins. The sacred paradox is this: the moment you truly stop caring in the sense of controlling, chasing, or proving, life starts to care for you. Not because it suddenly sees you, but because you've finally moved in harmony with it. Peace isn't passive. It's being involved without getting in the way. It's trust in something deeper, wiser, and older than your fear. Have you ever seen how some of your deepest healing came not through effort, but through letting go, when you gave up the struggle and whispered, "I can't carry this anymore." That's when grace appeared, not as a prize, but as a natural unfolding. This is the alignment the Buddha spoke of. Not a universe that bends to your will, but a mind that flows with the way of things. So today, breathe slowly and gently, whisper to your heart, "I surrender." Let what's meant for you come and see how, without force, life starts to open again. Not all at once, but slowly, like the morning light over a peaceful mountain. You were never meant to carry everything. You were meant to be held by something greater, and now you are letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting the truth, that control is often what blocks the peace you're searching for. What would your life be like if you truly believed it was working for your peace? What might relax in your body, your breath, your thoughts if you trusted that what's meant for you won't miss you in this stillness? The noise starts to fade, the pressure begins to ease, and life, in its own time, begins to blossom. When you stop caring in ways that exhaust you, you start living in ways that nourish you. This isn't falling apart, it's finding your way back. A return to the natural flow of life that's been waiting for you to stop fighting the current. So sit with that. Let go, not with fear, but with respect. And notice how, little by little, peace returns. Not as something you earn, but as something that was always meant to find you. Here's a quick summary of the lessons. Stillness exists beyond the need to control. Trying to manage every outcome only creates stress within. Peace begins when we stop forcing life to meet our expectations. When we choose stillness instead of struggle, we allow life to move naturally. Care doesn't mean clinging. Caring deeply isn't the same as becoming attached. When care has no limits, it often leads to pain. Letting go creates space for love to breathe, and for relationships to grow with balance. There is quiet power in not reacting. Reacting to every trigger drains your energy and weakens your spirit. Real strength comes from holding back and watching without taking everything in. Peace comes from making a choice, calm instead of chaos. Letting go is a quiet act of trust. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that peace exists beyond control. When we release what no longer helps us, we align with the rhythm of healing and clarity. The truth is, you are never lacking. We often look for outside approval, forgetting that inner wholeness is already within us. You are not broken or incomplete. You simply need to return to your own awareness and stop searching outside for your value. Nothing truly shifts until you stop resisting. Fighting reality only deepens the pain. Real transformation starts with acceptance. When you stop battling life, you realize that flow and peace were always there. Peace is found in fewer opinions. The need to be understood or approved by others takes away your mental peace. Silence and stepping back from constant explaining bring inner clarity. Speaking less often allows deeper wisdom to rise, the gift of being unavailable. Not everything deserves your focus or emotional energy. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred. Saying no is sometimes the most peaceful thing you can do. The idea of someday is just an illusion. Peace isn't something to chase later. It's a state you can access now. Waiting for everything to fall into place only delays your healing. Start choosing inner calm today. You are not required to suffer. Suffering isn't a spiritual duty. Many people carry pain long after its purpose has passed. You have permission to let it go and step into joy without guilt or apology. Care less and be more conscious. Trying to fix everything only keeps you stuck in restlessness. Being fully present is more powerful than over-efforting. When you let go of the need to always improve, that's when real living begins, the cosmic flow of release. Life begins to support you when you stop forcing your way through. Surrender makes room for the right people, paths, and moments to come together naturally. Letting go isn't losing, it's perfect timing. When you stop over-caring about what drains your spirit, the world won't fall apart. You finally come back to yourself. This isn't about letting go out of bitterness, but releasing with wisdom. You were never meant to carry every burden or control every outcome. Peace begins where unnecessary caring ends. A wise person lets go of what no longer belongs to them and finds peace in what's left. The path of inner change isn't about doing more, but about releasing what was never truly yours. Life, with its quiet wisdom, begins to align when you simply step back and allow it. This is the paradox of spiritual strength. The less you hold on, the more you grow. What might shift if I stopped caring about the things that steal my peace? Like and share this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Buddha's Eternal Wisdom for more peaceful and inspiring Buddhist insights.